Hi there! Earlier, we introduced inclusive design as a method for making design choices that take into account personal identifiers like ability, race, economic status, language, age, and gender. And one of the biggest parts of inclusive design is designing for accessibility. In this video, we'll explore the concept of accessibility. First, we'll review what accessibility means in the field of UX design. Then we'll discuss how many people have a disability globally. Finally, we'll go through 3 ways to think about disability. Let's recap. The term accessibility refers to the design of products, devices, services, or environments for people with disabilities. We call it A11Y in the industry, and it's something that should guide all of our work. And because I'm sure you're wondering, the 11 in the middle refers to the number of letters between the first letter in the word accessibility and the last letter. All right, let's zoom out a little. What are some of the groups of people we're considering when we think about accessibility? In academia and the tech industry, we tend to think about accessibility in 4 big categories: people with motor disabilities, people who are deaf or hard of hearing, people with cognitive disabilities like developmental, learning, or intellectual disabilities, and people with vision disabilities. It's also important to keep in mind that some people have concurrent disabilities, where, for example, a motor or cognitive disability can contribute to challenges with speech. It's easy to assume that accessibility just means solving for one specific need, like mobility, but accessibility is much broader than that. Accessibility is about making things accessible to all people, whether they have an obvious disability or not. You might be surprised to find out that more than 1 billion people around the world have a disability. That's right, 1 billion. That's out of a global population of 7.8 billion. This means 13% of people around the world have a disability. In the US, 1 in 4 adults identifies as having a disability. In other words, people with accessibility needs are a huge percentage of the population, and we're missing out on helping a lot of users if we don't build accessible products. But demographics can be misleading. There are a lot more people with a disability than the statistics account for. In the disability community and as UX designers, we focus on the social model of disability, which defines a disability as being caused by the way society is organized or how products are designed, rather than a person's ability or difference. As designers, we need to account for disabilities that are permanent, temporary, or situational in our designs. Someone with a permanent disability might have permanent loss of hearing, sight, or smell. Someone else might have a temporary impairment, like a broken arm or loss of hearing after a loud concert. We also need to consider situational challenges. Situational challenges often aren't considered legal disabilities, but we still need to solve them. An example of a situational challenge is when you're driving on a dark road late at night. Your vision is probably not as clear as it would be in the daylight, which is a situational challenge. Another example is if you're visiting a country where you don't speak the language. Your hearing is situationally limited. As UX designers, we need to keep all of these types of disabilities in mind as we design features or new products. Think about inclusive product features that increase magnification, like enlarged font, or features that help everyone understand videos, like closed captions. These features were designed to enhance the experience for people with a disability, but are used by a wide variety of people, and sometimes products that are originally adopted by the disability community can reach a wider audience. For example, when the typewriter was invented hundreds of years ago, it was an incredibly useful device for people who were blind. But most people who did not have a disability didn't see why it was necessary when they could just write with pen and ink. Later, the typewriter gained more mainstream popularity And of course, much later, it inspired the design of personal computers. Here's the key takeaway. If we make the design of a product easier for people with disabilities, we also often make it a better experience for everyone else. Designing for accessibility isn't an obstacle, but a way to get our products to as many users as possible. We'll elaborate on how you can apply accessibility principles to your designs throughout the rest of the program. We'll explore the idea of equity-focused design in more detail later.